Hey guys, Marcinkin here, bringing another Dragon Ball Z Dokkan battle video, and so we are still awaiting news on the Dragon Ball Heroes celebration for this year. We should be getting news any day now. This video is going to be going up on the 27th of October, and last year we'd already had the anniversary live stream, which is obviously a thing that they're not going to be doing anymore as the Heroes arcade game is over with. However, they did then tweet out on the 28th all the rest of the units for the banner that weren't shown in the original live stream. So by the 28th of October, we knew basically the full banner lineup, because they'd already announced 2 new units on the stream, Vegeta and Rose, and they had shown that Metal Cooler and Janemba were going to be awakening, and then the tweet showed the Fu, Broly and Vegeta, which makes up the full banner lineup. So still waiting on information about what the new stuff is going to be. But we do have obviously some information that we know for sure, which is who will the EZA'S be for this year's Hero Celebration. And the reason we know this is because they go by the batches, right? So if we go back to like the 2020 banner, it goes by the characters that got their TUR awakenings, right? So for example, on this banner from 2020, we had the Vegeta, Broly, Bardock, Gohan, Dabura, Toa, and then these guys got their awakenings, Demon Demigra, Super Mira, and then the Dark Mask Saiyans, right? The Gohan and Bardock didn't awaken. So basically the way it works is it's every unit that releases in a certain year that actually gets a TUR. So it's obviously based on the TUR release. So because Bardock and Gohan didn't awaken, they obviously didn't EZA last year, but these were the 8 EZAs from last year, the 8 units that got TURs, right? So we know when we look at the banner from 2021, Trunks, Pan, Mechikabura, Robel, and Supreme Kai of Time Corrupted were new, but Robel and Supreme Kai of Time did not awaken. And then the Xeno Goku and Vegeta, the Vegeks, and the Gotenks and Gohanks, they all awakened. So that means that the 8 EZAs are going to be the 8 TURs from this year's banner, which is God Trunks, Pan, Mechikabura, Xeno Goku, Vegeta, Vegeks, Gohanks, and Gotenks. Now, it's interesting, of course, that all the units on the bottom line here that all awakened, all of these guys awakened into differently named characters. Goku, Vegeta, and Vegeks all awakened into Super Saiyan, and then Gohanks and Gotenks awakened into Super Saiyan 3. So we know these are going to be the 8 EZAs for this year. We do not know what they are going to do, but for this video, I just wanted to take a look at all of them. Obviously, now you guys know. For any of you who were wondering who the EZAs are, now you know. But I was going to take a look at each of these guys and just have a quick discussion about what I think they should get in order to be good again. Because the EZAs for last year were all pretty solid. I think Dabura was probably one of the weakest, but most of them were pretty good. And still usable, like on the up until now, like trying to beat difficult content with the Heroes team, characters like Dark Mask King, Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta, like they still make it onto that team build because their EZAs were very, very good. So God Trunks, obviously the main headliner. When this guy came out for this Heroes celebration, he was comparable to Dokkan Fest that had come out around the same time, and people didn't want to accept that he was good. I think mainly just because he's only on one team. But when we saw like the calcs for like the attack stats that he was doing and like his post super defense and stuff like that, like he was definitely good at the time of his release. It's just only on the one team, which of course is a big disappointment. So he gets most of his stats from the per Dragon Ball Heroes ally on the team part of his passive, and then he gets an additional 100% attack and defense as well as built-in 50% crit chance when performing a super. He also creates rainbow orbs when the whole rotation is Dragon Ball Heroes. So the number one thing for this guy to make him good, outside of just being on the Heroes team, right? Because we don't want units that are only good on the Heroes team. So the big thing for this guy is changing that part of his passive, or at least adding to his passive, where it is the all stats are obtained from having Dragon Ball Heroes allies on the rotation. So there's a couple of options they could go for. Obviously the Tech Vegeta Saiyan Day team is really, really good. So Vegeta family would be a really good option. And then with like the UI Gokus and all that kind of stuff, we have Blue Evolution Vegeta, like Realm of Gods, I think would be another really good addition. So for me, the perfect version of his passive would be attack and defense 30% per Dragon Ball Heroes, Realm of Gods, or Vegeta family ally on the team. and then obviously make his Rainbow Orb changing the exact same restriction. So if he is on a Vegeta family team or he is on a Realm of Gods team, he still creates Rainbow Orbs as well. Now, obviously, when it comes to the numbers, like they could bump the stats up a little bit, or they could keep it 30%, but make it one of those ones where it does proc multiple times, like the free-to-play Gohan and Piccolo that we just got for the Namek Saga team. So like if he was on a team with Dragon Ball Heroes characters but that Xeno Vegeta was there, he would get 60% because he's a Heroes character and a Vegeta family character. I think that would be really, really good because it means on the Heroes team specifically, he would be really, really strong. But then on the other two teams, like if you're running a Vegeta family or a Realm of Gods team where there are no Heroes characters, he's not going to necessarily be getting as many of the multiple procs. And so he'd still be good, but he would be really, really good on the Heroes team, which I think is a good way to go about it. And then obviously he could have greatly raised on his super attack effect. And I mean, if they want to throw in other mechanics as well, like some built-in dodge or maybe some damage reduction, because he creates rainbow orbs, maybe damage reduction per rainbow orb obtained, something like that would be really good just to help him age better against some of these difficult bosses. So then we have Mechikabura. This guy I think is the one I'm looking forward to the most. This guy was super slept on, like when he came out. He was really, really good. He's a nuking style unit. He already starts off with start of turn stats, right? Attack and defense 150. Then he gets 80% when performing a super, and he's a nuking style unit. He also gets an extra 80% attack and defense if you got 2 or more AGL orbs, and then it was attack only with STR or physical, or defense only with tech or in. That's really, really good. Like, if he starts off with 150%, you're getting a bunch of AGL orbs or say tech or in. So he's getting an extra 80% defense on top of the 20% he gets per key sphere. All of that adds up. And then when he supers, he gets an extra 80% of that entire total because it's 80% on super. He infinitely stacks attack. So obviously he didn't have any defense raise on super, but at the time of his release, he was still tanky enough. He also recovers HP per rainbow orb obtained as well. And he's on some decent categories and he has big bad bosses. So here's a really good like villain unit. He was on Tech LR Fusion Zamasu's 200% lead and was obviously a big bad bosses, Fear and Faith, Godly Power. Like he fit quite well on that team. Sadly, Tech Zamasu is a little bit aged out now for this guy getting his EZA. It's not, if Tech Zamasu was still like a top team in the meta, being able to just throw this guy on the team now as well would obviously be really, really good. But really looking forward to this guy. He's on Resurrected Warriors, Realm of Gods, Time Travelers, Terrifying Conquerors, Heroes. He's on Power of Wishes. Like, he's just a very good character, very good links. All they really need to do is just buff up, like, all of these numbers a little bit. Maybe give him raised defense on super. Imagine if they made him stack both. But, I mean, he could just raise defense in one turn. And then, I don't know if they would do that because of all the other buffs that he gets during the turn. But if they just tune all of these numbers up a little bit, he will already be in a good spot. So, he could be really, really good. Then we have Xeno Pan. So Xeno Pan, obviously like the support unit for the team, right? Gives heroes allies 3 key, attack and defense 40%. She has built-in crit chance, which is kind of funny because obviously she's not really a damage dealing unit. And then she has a 50% chance to dodge. She gets extra defense within the turn with each attack she dodges. And then she gets extra attack and defense per hero's ally self-excluded in the turn. So obviously that means she was really limited to only the Heroes team, because not only does she get the extra stats, but she's only supporting Heroes characters. So there's not really any point running her on any other team, which I guess is fine. Like if she's just the dedicated support unit for the Heroes team, that's fine. They could juice the numbers up a little bit. You know, Heroes support could be 50%. Chance to dodge, it would be awesome if it went up to great chance, because I mean the number of times that she sells for me in the difficult runs, I've stopped using her now, obviously very much a dodge or die character. It'd be nice if with getting the extra defense with each attack evaded, maybe she could get like extra dodge chance with each attack received, because then it's kind of like the flip side, right? So if she dodges, she gets extra defense for then if she does get hit, and if she does get hit, she gets extra dodge chance. I think that would be quite good. Or just give her the straight up 70% chance to dodge, right? But yeah, she could be decent. She only raises attack on super, so give her raised defense on super as well. So additionals could be helpful. She does have the chance to stun, which obviously can be useful in some events as well. So she could be good. As long as she's just a solid support unit that isn't just going to always throw, then she would obviously be very useful for the team. Then we have the Super Saiyan Goku and Super Saiyan Vegeta. We'll talk about both these guys at the same time because they are basically the same, right? They both greatly raise attack and defense as an infinite stack on their super. Vegeta lowers attack and Goku can stun. They get start of turn stats, additional, Goku gets additional 100% attack when there's a Goku family ally on the team, and then he gives Goku family allies 2 ki and 40%. Vegeta gets the same, but just with Vegeta family. So these guys with their EZAs could be must-run supports on a few of these teams, like Vegeta for the Tech Vegeta team. Goku, obviously being on Kamehameha, most of the characters, in fact, there are some obviously, but most of the characters are Goku family characters, so he could end up being a must-run on some of these teams. Obviously, Turtle School is mostly Goku's. Like, this guy could be really, really good on a lot of teams. And same with Vegeta as well. So all they really need to do, a little bit of extra start of turn stats. I think maybe additional attack and defense when there's the family ally on the team, which is a super easy restriction. And then the family allies 3 ki, 50%. The greatly raising, the best thing for them, because they are the infinite stackers, is give them a way to additional as part of their passive. Because then if you go for the heavy into additional build, they could potentially triple super in a turn. And then obviously we want these stackers to be stacking as quickly as possible, especially as we are kind of back into a meta where the events are getting a little bit shorter or just really hard straight away from the beginning. So stackers need that little bit of extra help. Potentially even like some built-in dodge or damage reduction, maybe for a certain number of turns, perhaps, to help them with stacking. Because, I mean, obviously I would love all the heroes cards to be super OP, but I'm trying to be a little bit realistic. Maybe for the first couple of turns they could get damage reduction, or they could have a thing where they have damage reduction until they've supered a certain number of times, maybe. But something like that would obviously help them out for some of these tougher events as well. But yeah, these guys, I can imagine, as long as their EZAs are good, these guys will be really good on a bunch of teams. Like this guy again. Looking forward to throwing this guy on that Tech Saiyan Day Vegeta team. Then we have the Vegeks. Now he's another stacking unit. Infinitely stacks defense, raise attack for 1 turn. He gets start of turn stats and then 100% on super. He gets crit chance that he builds up with each super attack performed. And then he gets an additional super when the enemy has status effects, which is not as great for some of the more difficult content. Obviously some of them now we are able to do some of these status effects, but I think they definitely should throw in another additional attack condition. And then obviously if the enemy is attack lowered or defense lowered, stunned or sealed, he then just gets another extra super, which realistically, as stacking units are never like crazy broken outside of the odd examples, right, with like Tech Gohan and stuff, it's not going to suddenly make him the best unit in the game if he can super attack 4 times in 1 turn, right? Because he only has normal raised defense, which I think for stackers, is it only 20% or is his 30? Okay, Wiki says his is 30. If it was greatly raises as the stack, that would obviously be really good, and then maybe they wouldn't necessarily need to give him the extra super chance. But as I said for the Goku and Vegeta, the more they can stack, the better. And then, you know, his crit chance, we could maybe make it like 15% up to 70 or something, so it stacks a little bit quicker and ends up being a little bit higher. That would be quite good. And then again, maybe make this guy, like, give him a specific role on the team, right? Either give him some support, or maybe give him, like, Heroes desperately needs really good slot 1 tanks. And I don't expect them to transform a character that wasn't really a slot 1 unit into a slot 1 unit. But imagine if he has, like, 50 or 70% damage reduction before attacking. So once he's stacked up a little bit, you could then put him in slot 1 maybe. But this guy, they could do quite a lot. He's probably the one, if I had to guess, he feels like the Demon Demigura, Dabura of the group, where he is going to end up being the worst one. But hopefully I'll be pleasantly surprised, but we'll see. And then the last two are the Super Saiyan 3 Gotenks and Super Saiyan 3 Gohanks. These guys, again, are very, very similar to each other. Gohanks seals, and then this guy has lower attack and defense. They both raise attack and defense for 1 turn. They both get start of turn stats and then 30% extra with each super attack performed up to 120, and then they get an additional super guaranteed when there's a hero's ally in the same turn, or when the enemy is stunned or sealed for Gotenks, and then when the enemy is attack or defense down for Gohanks, because they're designed to work together, right? So they proc each other's passive. Now, I think they should make that just a separate thing. Give them a guaranteed additional super when there's a hero's ally, then give them another guaranteed additional super when the enemy is attack down or defense down for this guy, and then sealed for this guy, because those aren't going to be in, because it says or, right? So it's one or the other, but make it both. Why not? There's few events where you can do the status effects anyway. And then bump up their start of turn stats, maybe bump this up as well, like attack and defense 50% with each super up to 200 or 250 even. And then you could even make this greatly raise. Like, we used them on a recent run. I've putting up the video of the heroes beating all of the heroine battle stages. And these guys, you know, Gohanks on one of the runs with some links active and everything, dropping like 3 supers in a turn and doing like 4 to 5 million attack, which is nothing super crazy. But imagine post EZA if that's like 10 million plus or something, and then he's doing 3 or 4 of those in one turn. That could definitely be quite good. And then obviously, again, like we talk about it all the time, I don't want to make units super OP, but defensive mechanics, some sort of dodge, some sort of damage reduction, because just building up raw defense, even if they have like attack and defense 200% and then 50% with each super up to 200%, like they're still not going to be surviving like big super attacks from big bosses. So defensive mechanics are going to be super important. But let me know what you guys think down below in the comment section. These are the 8 EZAs that we are going to see for the Heroes celebration this year. Some of them have some really great potential. Some of them, it really depends whether they decide to kind of go all out for them or if they give them the bare minimum. If they do go for like the bare minimum, like I say, this guy and potentially even these guys have the possibility of not being that great, but we'll see how we get on. Very excited for Trunks and Mechikabura. Let me know what you guys think down below. Who is the one you're most excited for, and what would you like to see from their kits? Let me know in the comment section. So that is going to be it for the video, guys. This has been the Masked Ningen. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new, check out the links down below, and I will see you all again soon. Have a good one.